Are you looking for an easy way, a super easy and efficient way to identify your ideal target audience for your business and how to identify who is ready and willing to commit to get your help? Are you tired of wasting time in online conversations and phone calls with people who are not ready to invest and not ready to move forward? I have found one very, very powerful way to help attract your ideal target audience, somebody who is ready right now to commit to move forward in getting your help, is through doing an online survey or online quiz. And I just recently did a whole episode where I talked about how to use these online surveys and quizzes to find your ideal target audience. But today I wanted to walk you through a little bit of how to actually create your quiz, how to create your questions, and how to do it using a free online tool like Google Forms. So the first thing that you're going to do is you need to create statements, not questions. I like to use a Likert scale, like on a scale of 1 to 5. I want to create statements to help people be self-reflective on the areas that they need help. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop on my computer. I'm going to show you how I used ChatGPT to help generate some statements. And then I'm going to walk you through how you could use Google Forms if you do not have an online survey tool or you don't want to invest yet in purchasing a tool like SurveyMonkey is one that is popular. JotForms is another one. So I thought I would show you how you could use a free tool like Google Forms to create your survey. Okay, the first thing that you want to do is to create some statements. So I'm going to show you here what I did with ChatGPT. So what you want to do if you're using artificial intelligence to help create the questions, let me just kind of share my prompt that I used. So I basically said, I'm going to create a quiz, or rather a self-assessment questionnaire or survey where people rate themselves on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 meaning it doesn't apply at all to them, or 5 meaning it completely applies, it's relevant, they've mastered it. Now here's the key. If you're going to use artificial intelligence to help generate some questions or statements, I keep saying questions, statements, is I want the questions to be self-reflective for individuals who might become an online health or fitness clients. So whatever kind of client that you want to attract, what you want to do in your prompt to ChatGPT is you want it to be clear and catered to your particular audience. So just make sure when you're doing your prompt in ChatGPT that you specify exactly the kind of client that you want to attract, okay? I think this is really important. The questions should not allow them to score high on everything. Again, I don't want them to be mastered. Everything's mastered, because then why would they want to hire me, right? Why would they want to do my program? The questions should prompt responses to help them self-identify areas of need, areas that they're more likely, areas that they're aware of that they need help. If you have categories, what I would recommend, the more specific that you can be in here on what you want the survey to tap into, the better. So I just kept it kind of general because, I know that not everybody is going to be following along that has the exact same, target audience. But I would tweak that here where I talk about who the audience is. I would just put a little bit more detail based on your business. You could even copy and paste or upload your program information. So that's another thing. So if you already have detailed information on your coaching programs and your services, what you can do is you can upload your program information. And then what I would do is tell ChatGPT, I want you to create 4 categories of topics and maybe 3 to 4 questions in each category that has the audience self-reflect on and rank areas of topics that are covered in your program. And that would be even more ideal. So here, what ChatGPT did was it had self-assessment questions for health and fitness clients, and it broke it into categories of consistency, knowledge of health and fitness, goal setting, motivation, physical wellness. So what I would recommend is I would say pick 1 to 4 categories and do 3 to 4 statements for each category. I don't like to go more than 20 statements. So I would do maybe 10 to 20 statements. And you could just get some brainstorming in here. And also you might want to consolidate some topics. But I think ChatGPT is a great way to just kind of get the juices flowing and start getting some ideas. Then what I would do is go into a software program like a quiz builder and create your statements and responses right in that quiz builder. You can go into Google Forms and you can do this for free. So I'm going to just kind of walk you through briefly how you can get this set up in Google Forms. So this is Google Forms. If you just go and do a search, if you have a free Gmail Google account, you have access to Google Forms. They have some templates. I do find it's easy to just start with a template. So I will just do contact form template. If you want to change the theme here, you can go in and change the color, the background. What you'll want to do is you want to have a title for your form, so whatever your title is. And then I would definitely have name and email and definitely make it required, okay? Then what we do is we go over here onto add question. And then we look at the type of question. So here, this is new. They just have this new star rating, and it's actually built in already in a 5-star system, which is interesting. So I would say you could use like a linear scale. So you could be like on a scale of 1 to 5, or you can do just a star rating. So we'll do star rating. And then I'm going to show you a quiz that I did for Canine Fitness. So it's caninefitnessquiz.com. So here I have like some directions. So I'll just copy and paste this just for the sake of time. But this is a canine fitness one that I did. So what you'll want to do, you'll put there up here where it says contact information, but you'll have your title, right? Whatever the title of your questionnaire is. And then you can put like your little directions, right? And then we'll have their name, we'll have their email address. And then you know what I might do is I might do something like, let's just put some text in there. And I can just drop and drag this for the text. So this is, I want to put it below the name. So we're going to drop it down. And underneath that, we just have text. So what I want to do on the text part is I need to let them know what my scale is. Basically, what you'll want to do here is on a scale of, so let's make it easy. Let's do 1 to 5. So what I would do is I would say, use the following scale of 1 to 5. So then you could say, 1 equals, and then just tell them what 1 is, and then a 5 equals. So usually what I'll do is like 1 is I've not yet mastered this. I'm struggling, or I'm not doing this at all. A 5 would be like I've mastered it. And then what I would do is I would just go and I would take your statements, right? And then you just put your statements in here, right? So use the following scale of 1 to 5 to rate your responses below. So I understand how to create a fitness plan that aligns with my goals, right? So they pick on a scale of 1 to 5. 5, they've mastered it. 1, they're not even there. They're not even doing it. Then what you could do is you can just duplicate this, or you can just go over here and do add another question. So you can do add another question. And again, this is new, a star rating. So you could just do a star rating and then just go back to your question, go back and add your next statement, and then put it there, right? And then I can just duplicate it, do my next statement, duplicate it, and do my next statement. If you want to break it into categories, if you go and look at my canine fitness quiz, you see how I have like fitness evaluation, and then I have program design, program implementation. So if you are breaking your survey into different categories, what I would do is just go over here by a text box, and then this would be the title of your category. And then what you can do is just move it to the beginning of that section, right? So this might be, motivation, right? So then I'll have maybe 3 questions for motivation, and then let's duplicate it. And let's say this would be nutrition questions. Maybe I have some nutrition questions. So this is, again, it's just a text box, and then we can just drop and drag it. Drop it and drag it down. And then you can put your questions here. Let's see. I would make it bold. I think it looks nicer in bold. Motivation, nutrition. And then let's go to preview. here's our motivation statements, here's our nutrition statements. I would probably number them. I would go, and I would also go at the beginning. I would say, number 1, number 2, and there we go. So you can create your questions there. Then over in responses, when they start filling out the responses, when you go back to your form, this is where the answers, you'll be able to see your answers. Then the settings. This is not a quiz with points. It's like a graded quiz. Don't do that. Responses. Manage how responses are collected. Instead of doing force collect email, I actually make my email address as a required question. So this would be where they're like forced to log in to their Gmail account. So they're forced to do their email address. I usually just leave that do not collect, and I actually make its own question as name and email address. Send responders a copy of their responses. You could do that if you want. Allow response editing. I usually allow it. Limit one response to question. I usually just leave all of that. Presentation. You could make your categories on separate pages, but don't make it too long, so you can just keep it on one page. If it's on one page, you don't need the progress bar. I would not shuffle the questions, so I would just leave all of this. Confirmation. So after they submit it, you could say, thank you so much for submitting. If you're going to follow up with an email, you can say, be sure to check your email. If you want to send them to a thank you page with maybe your website, you could put your website in here. If you want them to check out an online course you have, again, whatever, this is like your pop-up, thank you so much. And you can edit and put whatever you want in there. I usually just keep all of this where it is. I don't change that. Form defaults. Again, you can force them to collect the email, but that's going to make them log in. They're like, if they have a Gmail program, they're going to have to log in. So I like to just do it as a separate question. So pretty much that's really the only thing I change here is just the confirmation message. Then what we're going to do is when I'm going to publish it, and basically anybody with the link can answer. Okay, so I'm going to hit publish or stop or start accepting responses on your form so we can go and do publish. Okay, so here's publish. Then what you see right here is copy responder link. So this link right here will take people to the quiz. And I like to use the shortened version of it. So you just copy it. And then this now is the questionnaire that you're going to share with people. And again, it's just a real quick, I just did it really quickly, but basically they would come in. I'll use, Erica, I'll use my personal email, ecboling@gmail.com. And then I can go in and respond and then hit submit. And then thank you for submitting. Okay. And then when you go back to your actual quiz, so if we go back to our actual quiz, it already showed. So we go to responses, and then here you can actually go in and see my responses. You can, if you have multiple, you can look at, it'll kind of pull together all your responses. You can do individual responses. You can export your responses. If you're going to be doing a lot of these, to get a nice software program that can integrate with your, nicely into your email system and have automations and stuff. But if you're just starting out and you want something that's going to be very simple, something that's free to use, I think Google Forms is a great program that you can use. So if you're still here, thank you so much for watching. This is just hopefully a helpful quick tutorial to show you how I use ChatGPT to help generate some questions, some statements, some surveys. I keep saying questions. And how, if you don't already have a software tool for doing quizzes and questionnaires, how you could easily use the free Google Forms to very quickly and easily generate your online survey, get your link, and start sharing it today. So thank you so much for watching. And if you missed my previous episode where I talked in more detail about how and why I use these surveys and how I've used these surveys to generate hundreds of thousands of dollars and building up my email list by thousands of people, be sure to watch it. I will have it linked here and below, so be sure to check that out. Thank you so much for watching or listening, and I look forward to seeing you in our next episode of Fit, Free, and Fearless.